Project for today is going to be this Ariens Riding mower. The drive belt had popped off on the guy and it quit moving completely, and I managed to dig it out of the back. It was kind of kicked underneath the transmission pulley, but now it's got a big burnt spot in it, so it's making a bunch of noise while it's running. I've got a replacement belt here. We're going to pull the deck off of it first, and we'll slide that out so we can get under there. This one's not the easiest to get in there, so we got to get the deck off of there to do anything with it. So I'll get you set up and we'll get started. So it's got a lever here you can pop off, and that loosens the deck belt. You can slide that off kind of carefully so it doesn't fall off of anything. The deck belt's got some cracks in it too. And then there's a pin down in here for the front deck hanger. I'll slide that out of there. And then in the back, there's a pin on each side just like this. I'll lift the deck a little. I'm just gonna slide the pin back through there so we don't lose it. And we'll do the same thing on this side. And then we've got a kind of a stabilizer bar. And they've all got washers on them. I've set that out of the way. There's a couple of arms. I'll see if I can get you up in there, show you those. There's a couple of arms that run up kind of the middle here. That one went flying on me. And then those come off and just kind of lay down like that. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. So I'm gonna just pull the deck out of here. It'd be easier on flat ground. I should have waited to put it on the lift. Now I'm going to crank it up in the front here. There's that pin that went flying. Figured it was under there somewhere. But now we should be able to get under there and get that belt off of there. There's how it kind of runs all the way to the back there. So first thing I'm going to do is we're going to push the clutch in and lock the parking brake. That loosens the drive belt, so we'll be able to pull it off of all these pulleys here. And hopefully you can kind of get up in here and see it runs up around the steering shaft, so it comes kind of tight together here. So I'll pull it off the front here first. I'm not sure if we're gonna have to pull this PTO clutch or not. We'll see. So I'm gonna pull it off of these pulleys first so we can loosen it up. These keepers are pretty thin metal, so you can just pop it around those. And then we'll pull it off of pulley back here. Then we'll get a lot of free play in it to hopefully get over that PTO clutch. So that comes off. And then we'll see if we can get it around here. Some mowers you have to take the PTO clutch off and other ones you don't, so. This one's got some keepers that might make it difficult. We will probably have to disconnect the wire at least. It goes to the PTO clutch, otherwise I think it'll come off of there. So the wire for the PTO clutch comes up through here. There's a zip tie there I'll have to cut, and then it's just a couple of tabs that you squeeze here to pop it open. I'll grab something to cut that zip tie, and when we pull that out, then we can get the belt around everything. So I cut that zip tie, and then we'll be able to pull that down through, and then the belt should come off of here. Oh, there's another keeper. This keeper here, we'll have to pull that off, so that holds the PTO clutch from spinning. So this is a 9/16. I'm hoping we can get this up out of there without pulling that clutch off, but I don't know. We might just have to pull it. Oh no, that came out of there. And now the belt is coming out of there. There we go. That's pretty burnt and narrow in a couple of these spots. It's kind of hard to tell on camera maybe, but it's mainly just this area here. The rest of it is just worn super thin. That should be a 1/2 inch belt, and it's a lot narrower than that. So I'm thinking this is the one we did in a previous video, fix the frame back here. So I made some brackets here because it was all busted in there, and the transaxle had tipped forward and the belt was slipping on the guy. So I'm thinking that that's what ruined that belt. It did last another year like it was, but it was probably short for life on it after that. So we're replacing it with a new one. So the belt we're replacing it with is a Sten's 265-312. It's a 1/2 inch wide belt by 92.5 inches long. I get a lot of comments in these videos where I do belts, and people want to know the part numbers and the length of the belts and the width and stuff, and it's almost always in the video. You just got to watch the whole thing to get the dimensions, because I don't remember after 6 months to a year afterwards. If it's an old video, I don't remember what belt I put in. That's why I always put it in the video. So if you want to know what the dimension is, just make sure you keep an eye on the video and see when I mention it. I usually do right before I put the new one on, so that's just to minimize some confusion on what size belts we're putting on everything. So when you're first putting the belt in, it goes to if you're looking out towards the front of the machine, it'll go to the left of the steering shaft, and it kind of just squeezes up through there. And I'm gonna pull a bunch of slack so we can get it around this PTO clutch. It's kind of hard for me to get you up in the front here, so kind of just have to bear with me. I'll see if I can show you once I get it up in there. I'm kind of cheating here by not taking some of this stuff apart. This belt's quite a bit wider since it's a new belt, so it's harder to get around these keepers. I got one side. I'll have to zip around to the other side. Oh, I got the PTO wire caught in there. forgot that has to go through. There we go. There, it's around that pulley. The engine pulley is about the hardest one to get it around. It's kind of hard to get you a view where you could see all the pulleys. Whenever there's a flat pulley instead of a V pulley, that's always the back side of the belt runs on that, so you always run the flat side of the belt on that part, and then the V's always go into the V pulleys. Got that like that. I think I should have waited to put this in though. I'm gonna pull that back out of here. Should put it on the transmission first, so we got enough slack to get all the way back there. I don't know how much you can see back here at the transmission. It's not, I can't even really see what I'm doing back here. The fins on the fan kind of bend around, so you can kind of get it started around those. Came off of here kind of easy. I'm surprised it's giving me this much trouble going back on. I kind of managed to get my hand around in the side of the mower here to get two hands up in here. I think I've got it pretty close. I kind of just kept spinning it until those fan blades kind of popped up and out of the way. They were kind of folded down. Now I should be able to put it around the rest of the pulleys here. That went like that. I'll release the brake. That should be good now. That's really good and tight compared to what it was. It was really loose. You can still pull it, but you're moving the tensioner. So there's how it goes around all those pulleys. Just kind of runs around the back side of this one. It's kind of just a kind of stabilize that long length, otherwise it would flop back and forth. And then this is the pulley that moves for your clutch, which this one is worn pretty far in, but now with the new belt it kind of sits farther out where it should. They should sit so they're just in there a little bit. You don't want them sunk way into the pulley. That'll usually be a worn out pulley. These are plastic, so they do wear, but even the aluminum ones will wear too. And then you want to make sure it's not on the outside of these keepers here, otherwise that'll end up causing an issue. And then up in here you can kind of see what I was fighting with around that engine pulley. And then you want to make sure that this is in the same orientation. There should be a hole that this keeper went through. I just got to find the spot. That one's right here. So you can kind of see it goes down through a hole there. And then we'll have to bolt that back in, and then we can run the wiring up and we should be good to go. I got this bolt started in there. And that keeps that from spinning. Otherwise, as soon as you engage it, it could spin and it'll rip the wires right off of there. And then this ran up through here. You could pull that PTO clutch off, that PTO clutch pulley, and it would be a little bit easier to get in there and stuff. I was just kind of taking a shortcut here, but that's just the 5/8 center bolt. Those can be rusted on there though, is the trouble. That's why if I don't have to mess with them, I try not to. I think we're ready to put the deck back on now and see how it drives. Well, we're gonna slide the deck back under here now. I normally do this the other way. I should have pulled it out the other way so you have to put the chute all the way through. That's a big one on this. That's pretty close. Pretty much on any mower deck, if it came off easy enough the way you did it, pretty much just do the opposite. Start with the last thing that you took off. So I'm gonna put these arms up first. And then this one here. I usually always do the front hanger last. It's usually hard to get these rear ones if you do the front one first. Oh, I knocked you guys over. And I got this rod. This kind of stabilizes the side-to-side movement. That was this little washer and a little pin. And that one. This one's got a lot of pins on it. That's one thing the John Deere's had kind of nice. It was only like 3 pins to pull everything off on a lot of the John Deere's. I'll have to pull the deck ahead just a little bit to get that lined up. Or just lift on it a little bit. That's usually why I do the front one last, because you can usually just lift up on the front of the deck and get it to push through. And then this piece here will loosen the belt back up. Put that back around the engine pulley here. And tighten that back up, and then just make sure we're on all the pulleys. It looks like it's spinning okay. And we'll lift the deck back up. And I think we're good to go take it for a test drive and see how it does. Hopefully it's a lot quieter. It was making a kind of a chunking noise with that chunk out of the belt. It was, as it would come around and hit every pulleys, it would bang each time, so should be a lot quieter now. Well, everything seemed to work fine. It was good and quiet, so that was the main thing. I could hear that belt making noise before, and now it was good and smooth. So I think this one will be good to go for another summer at least. That's going to do it for this one. If you like this sort of thing, like the videos and subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you on the next one.